All right.
Chit chat.
Now we're going.
All right. Welcome to the episode. We got to do a hot take, but I failed to come up with one.
Yeah, I don't have shit for a hot take, actually. I'm going to be honest.
What if my hot take is that we skip the hot take this week? And maybe if they come up, then we'll be like, bada boom, that would be my hot take.
Bada boom.
Bada boom.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Today, we're doing a review.
Yes. Did we say welcome back to the Mankheads podcast?
Welcome back to the Mankheads podcast. Episode 7 of season 2. Episode 17, 18 overall of the show.
Yeah, kind of hyped. We're about to do a clip show coming up.
We're going to do a clip show, yeah.
It's like about that time. I feel like
I think it's a best of the Mankheads podcast / the Untitled Emma Diego project.
Mm-hmm. There is no footage of that, unfortunately.
We'll just post a picture of our old logo.
So true.
Our humble beginnings.
Yeah.
Today we are doing a review. We are going to be reviewing The Menu and Babylon.
Much to be said about both.
Much to be said. Yeah, 2 movies that I was very excited about for a while.
Yes, me too.
I think the marketing
for both of them was fantastic.
It was very good. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is like in preparation of us like ramping up our like Oscar contenders viewing stuff. And at the time of this recording, just this morning, the Oscar noms were announced.
They were dropped.
I didn't see much in the way of The Menu being like nominated for stuff.
No, me neither.
I didn't look through the whole thing.
Triangle of Sadness is nominated for Best Picture, though. I'm going to talk a little bit about those in conjunction with one another.
Babylon was not on the Best Picture shortlist.
No,
was it?
And I'm perfectly fine with that.
We'll get into that, perhaps.
Let me go to do we want to talk about this a little bit?
I got 3 nominations, you said?
I think you got costume, score, and production design.
This makes sense.
That makes sense. Costume, score, and production design were the 3 nominations per Parker, who is in the room. Shout out Parker. Friend of the podcast.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think we're going to start with The Menu.
Yes.
Okay, so like we said, the marketing and the trailer for this were really good. I was really excited about this movie. It looked very fun.
Same.
Also, it was a pretty stacked cast, and the marketing kind of reminded me of almost like Knives Out. I didn't know. I didn't think it was gonna be like a mystery. Of course, it wasn't. I don't think it was Knives Out was like, ooh, it's a whodunit.
Yeah.
That's like the whole thing. But it was like, I don't know. It had that same dark comedy tone in it, very irreverent, kind of
intense.
Yeah, very very intense as well. It was like, I kind of like a horror movie, that was kind of
I think it's being called a horror comedy.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I think I'd agree with that. Definitely like a thriller comedy at least as well.
I was curious. I didn't really know anything about the director, but he's mostly he's this British lad. What's his name? He's a bloke.
Mark Mylod.
Yeah, Mark Mylod, and he's directed and executive produced some notable things where we have Shameless, Succession, and Game of Thrones. He directed several episodes of Game of Thrones in seasons 5, 6, and 7.
Damn. Those are the biggest budget episodes too.
Yeah, I really didn't know his name before this though.
I didn't know anything about him either. Yeah. Okay, so should we start off with the stuff that we did like about it? Start off positive.
Yeah.
I thought it was going to be very fun, and it was pretty fun.
And it was super entertaining the whole time.
It was really entertaining.
Yeah.
I thought it was it was a bit smarter than I thought it was going to be too. I wasn't sure what the whole the actual thing about it was. It was okay. maybe not.
I think it's about what I expected, honestly.
Maybe so, but also it's it had more undertones of kind of more serious stuff as opposed to just your classic slasher thing where it's bad guy that they'll kill all these people.
Well, I think I actually maybe ended up being a little more serious than I was expecting it to be.
I think so. Maybe that's what I was going for as well.
Yeah.
And maybe smarter isn't the right word yet because there's some stuff that I didn't think worked about it in that sense.
Yeah. I like a satire.
Yeah, me too. And bringing it back to Knives Out, it was kind of in that same sense where I had some sort of social commentary going on for it that I didn't quite expect, but wasn't too upset about or don't think that I was too caught off guard. It kind of fit where it was going. So that a lot of that worked for me, and the performances were good too. I think a lot of the performances worked pretty well for me.
Oh yeah, I agree. I wrote there, and I mean it. Feel like I'm like Anya Taylor-Joy's acting is like up for debate for me. I can't tell if she's just like really entrancing or if she's like an exceptional actress. I don't think she's a bad actress.
Yeah, it's up for debate for me as well. I think I think she's just so like charming in like all of her roles that it's hard to not be drawn to her when she appears in something.
Yeah, I like her.
Yeah, I think she's a great performer, and gets people seeing the stuff that she's in.
She does. She does.
And I think a lot of that. Bless you. A lot of that comes from just how popular I think like Queen's Gambit and stuff was. And she I think she was already very famous before then, but that just like put her on the edge into the limelight of like A-list stars.
The first time I saw her was The Witch.
The first time I saw her I think was Split.
Okay, yeah.
Which was a few months after The Witch or something like that. Bless you. So the movie
Ray Fiennes.
Incredible.
Yeah. Love him.
Yeah. What can be said about him?
Yeah.
Great guy. Love
Truly.
that guy.
Love that guy.
Love that Welsh bloke. So the movie kind of surrounds itself around this like high-end restaurant, like what do you call it, like fine dining, I guess.
Fine dining experience, the Hawthorne, on an exclusive remote island.
It's like this like crazy like expensive like experimental dining experience,
Yeah, $1,250 a head.
Which like we were saying
to get to this place.
Which we were saying like feels kind of like low for like how much pomp and circumstances like surrounding this whole experience.
Honestly,
I was thinking like aren't like political fundraisers like 10,000, 50,000 bucks a plate or something like that. Yeah, that can be or something like that. So I'm like, I don't know. I think
it'd be like $3,000 or something.
Like 10 or something like that, or like 5 or something.
Maybe, yeah.
I don't know shit about fine dining. So
damn, what would they have to be feeding you for that though? And he didn't feed them shit.
He didn't feed them shit. Yeah, famously in the movie. Yeah, and so the patrons go there, and this is his restaurant. The chef played by Ray Fiennes, Julian Slowik, had been like a prominent figure in like fine dining and like this like new experimental mode of I guess cooking or whatever you call it. I don't know. I'm so ignorant to like dining and stuff like
Culinary culture. Don't know.
There you go. Culinary. That's a better word.
But this is like the last straw. like he's at his wit's end, and he like kind of goes crazy, and this is kind of like I feel like one of the biggest things in this, right, is like the service industry, right? Because they are very clear about the division between like the patrons and the service workers and the people in the kitchen and the people serving them. And my brain was going somewhere with that.
Some of the service workers.
Oh, okay. So him going crazy.
Oh yeah.
I guess he talks about having lost like all of the joy and like artistic joy that he had in cooking, which comes to a head at the end of the movie with that whole thing. Yeah, we don't have to talk about that. No. You can watch the movie. But like this is his breaking point, and he, instead of being the sideshow this time, he like turns his audience into the sideshow and like creates this menu for himself, for his own like pleasure, I think.
Yeah. And like the menu, the title refers to like the chain of events in which he's like kind of exacting his revenge on these people that he feels have like ruined his life.
Whatever various reasons. So I saw a TikTok that was talking about them representing the 7 sins, the different patrons, and then the I wrote her name down because like Elsa, the main like worker kind of hostess. Yeah. She represented one of them. I can't remember. I thought that was kind of an interesting take. I was like, I can see that.
Yeah, I guess I'm trying to. I guess like
you have Tyler, this person. So that's Nicholas Hoult, who's like so obsessed with this and like wanting to be a part of it that he picks it apart and takes all the joy out of it, like Julian was talking about. Can't just enjoy it and like eat it and experience it. He's over there taking pictures when they ask them not to.
One of the other patrons is a food critic and like magazine editor, and she like takes all the credit for like discovering Julian Slowik.
Yeah, which takes his power away, it seems like, you know?
Yeah, definitely. And then there's like
or he feels
at least, yeah. There's an old like married couple that we find out has ties to Anya Taylor-Joy's character Margot in certain ways.
And I think like even more so than that, they've been there so many times and they don't even care enough to remember anything that they've eaten there, like ever, a single dish.
Especially, I think the old couple, the husband has been there more times, and at one point Slowik like points him out, and like once like the tide really starts turning and like things start really like ramping up, and he's like, why are you doing this to me? And he's like, and Slowik goes, you've eaten here 11 times or something like that. Name one dish that I've served you.
Something that I really loved, the like title card kind of things, like presenting each dish and kind of each chapter of the movie. It was awesome. Yeah,
when they had each, like if it was like a 7-course like menu or something like that, and each time they would serve a new thing, they would have a title card with a picture, like a little like
the overhead.
It was almost like a reality TV show, like in like Chopped or like Top Chef or something like that, like an overhead of the food.
Like what it is, the title.
And it was like a lot of them were really tongue in cheek as well. There's a good moment with Tyler's character and his like Julian's and Ernst Slowik's revenge against him and like the foodie types, like where it's like. Gosh, I don't know how to explain this without spoiling it. It's a funny moment. It's like one of like the funnier moments of that like use or that technique, that mechanic.
Let's see. And we have the tech bros, and then we have this is the one that makes me go like, this shit was so personal. The actor, the Welsh actor, who's that, John Leguizamo? How do you say his last name?
I think so, Leguizamo or something like that.
Because like he's mostly there. Okay, so yes, he's cheating on his wife with his assistant or whatever, right? Like that was implied, right? That was also his mistress.
Yeah, that was his like mistress or something.
And you end up finding out that she had like stolen money from him or something too. So it's like they have these like, because Julian invited all these people there with this intention, to like expose all of their sins and be like, y'all suck, y'all are bad people, and look how you've ruined my life and the art and the culinary world, I guess.
Yeah.
And like the washed up actor is just mostly there because Julian had a day off one day and went to see a movie
that he was in,
and he hated it and it sucked and he was mad about it. It like ruined his day.
And it's like, I thought that was really funny, but also I'm like, that kind of takes away some like the like, I don't know, the seriousness of it. I don't know. That was I guess it wasn't too big of a deal for me, but it was just kind of like that's funny, but also like, why? I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I guess we can get to, is there anything like we weren't liking?
Yeah, I mean, like going back to kind of what I said, it was a bit more serious of a movie than I thought it would be, and with a lot more social commentary than I thought, and I'm not quite sure that it landed a lot of that.
I would agree.
You know, like I said earlier or I retracted that it was smarter in that, like, I think it might have been trying to be a bit too smart.
I actually kind of agree.
I think it kind of got in its way a little bit.
The marketing tricked me, I think, into thinking it was one thing when it was another. It was a little sillier. Yeah. Yeah. I know earlier I said it was more serious, but it was like, it was both at the same time, because it was like trying to delve into like something really deep. But then also was like really silly and goofy sometimes. Yeah,
we watched it when it hit HBO Max in our house, and we as we were watching it, I think Kazdan said that like one of his friends had seen it, and that like he was, and Kazdan, oh, how was it? I've been wanting to see it, and a friend says something like, I mean, it was good, but like, don't like rush out to go see it, and I think that encapsulates it a lot.
I agree.
Like, it was fine, it was good. I don't plan your day around it, you know?
Yeah. Like, and in terms of eat the rich genre movies this year, it's one of two, right? Big ones, I guess. Yeah. The other one, there's also Triangle of Sadness. So like the Menu isn't getting nominated for anything, right? But Triangle of Sadness is getting nominated for Best Picture. And I think that's like maybe well deserved. I'm not sure. I'm like,
once I see that, then we can like have another discussion about that.
We should revisit this topic, because it's like they were coming at very similar themes, but they did them pretty differently. Triangle of... They both had these, like, isolated incidents, though, which is, like, interesting. They are doing this study on, like, class structure by, like, isolating all these people, like, it's fucking Lord of the Flies or whatever, more so in Triangle of Sadness. But, like, they're on an island out in the menu, too.
It was like a plane
all these
crash or
different
something like
people,
that in Triangle of
and you
Sadness?
realize that there's different levels here, realizing that Anya Taylor-Joy's character is actually, like, not one of the elite, which is, from the beginning, kind of poked at, because it's like immediately Ray Fiennes and Elsa's character, like, they kind of know that she's not supposed to be there, and they're like, what's all this about?
There's a lot
she
of...
doesn't work with the menu and the plan. Like, she's not fitting in.
And there's a lot of what do you call it? A lot of emphasis placed on the fact that she's like a substitute for the person that was meant to be there originally.
With Tyler, his girlfriend who broke up with him like right before.
Yeah, and so now she's his date. I was gonna ask, and I interrupted a little bit. But is there like a plane crash or something like that in Triangle of Sadness?
In Triangle of Sadness, they're on a boat.
On a boat,
and
that
they
crashes.
like get shipwrecked.
I see.
And wash up on this island.
Yeah, it's like just like.
Yeah, and you know, obviously there's already this class division of like the workers and servers and the people just cruise in. And they're all assholes, like all of the rich people in Triangle of Sadness. Just, yeah, the worst. But, like, I feel like worse than the people in the menu. And, yeah, they end up crashing on this island. And then the only person who can help them survive is, like, the one, like, ship worker who, like... Well, actually, two of them, like, washed up, but, like, one of them was kind of, like, the chief of staff, so she doesn't have all the practical skills. And then there's, like, the person who would be the lowest on the ship ends up being, like, the leader on the island. It was interesting. Okay. I didn't love the ending. I kind of need to watch it again or something, because I'm like, Especially now having seen the menu, too, I'm like, I'm very interested in, like, watching them both again to compare them.
I imagine we'll probably get to it in another review between now and the Academy Awards.
Yeah, of course. It's now that it's a Best Picture nominee.
Especially now it's a Best Picture nominee. Speaking of, dude, I've like only seen like one Best Picture nominee.
I've seen 5, so I'm doing pretty good.
You're doing pretty good. I have a lot of ground to make up. I probably won't end up seeing all of them, but I'll do my best.
What do y'all think of Elvis being nominated for Best Picture?
What do we think of Elvis being nominated for Best Picture?
What do we think of Ana de Armas being nominated for Best Actress?
I know.
I hate it. I am very unhappy with that choice.
Discussion for another episode, perhaps.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, I think overall the menu was a pretty fine movie. It's not the most like groundbreaking social commentary ever, I don't think. It's an interesting one for sure in that it frames it through the world of culinary arts.
Yeah, like we said, fun, entertaining. The guy from the Sonic commercials is in it.
He is, yeah.
Awesome. So like obviously it's awesome. So rating?
I think I gave it 3 stars. 3.5 maybe. Let me double check.
I feel like you gave it 3.5 and I gave it 3. That sounds like very you and me.
That does.
I gave it 3 and I said, why don't we hang out with Julian Slowik anymore? And like, why don't... He seems like a cool guy.
He seems like a cool guy. Wait, he did what?
Huh? Human s'mores?
I gave it actually a 3 star as well.
Oh, really? Okay.
Twins.
Twinsies. Wow, that didn't. Yeah. Okay. Never mind. Didn't come out. Didn't land.
The menu. Okay. Good enough.
Good enough. Just okay. Follow us on Letterboxd, by the way.
It's not like people put in a lot of hard work into this movie, you know?
You know what? Like, they should be proud. It's getting good reviews and stuff.
It's getting good reviews, and it's. I think it's like the most like streamed movie like within a certain time frame on HBO Max or something like that.
Crazy. HBO Max. Killing it.
Pretty fun. Check it out on HBO Max right now. As of the time of this recording, I'm sure it'll be there for a few more months.
Yeah.
If not for indefinitely. But yeah.
In a word. Delectable.
Scrumptious.
Scrumdiddlyumptious.
Okay, let's move on to Babylon.
Yeah, let's move on.
Our second film that we're going to be discussing today. Director Damien Chazelle's follow-up to First Man, but no one really saw that, so kind of more his follow-up to La La Land.
Yeah. I
didn't see First Man. Did you?
I did.
Oh.
It was whatever.
Yeah.
It was a movie.
I didn't see it, but it felt kind of like out of character.
Out of place,
yeah, especially like
in his filmography.
His filmography now with Babylon being like the next like big release of his. It very much fits into kind of stuff like movies about like show business and stuff like that.
Yeah. The biz.
Yeah, it's a behemoth at over 3 hours long.
Yeah. You already know what I'm gonna say about that. Unearned.
Laura.
Few things earned that right, and it certainly did not.
Yeah.
Could have been way better as a tight like hour and a half movie. Needed serious editing. That's my opinion.
I don't know that
That's my hot take.
Okay, there you go, hot take. I don't know that. I mean, like, yeah, I mean, I think like an hour and a half is always going to be like a really tight thing, but also it's like this kind of movie.
2 hours even.
2 hours, I think I'd be okay with. Or I'd probably be okay with. I'm not saying like.
Yeah, no, you would have had to cut out an entire person's like character and storyline to get it down to an hour and a half. But that was part of the problem. It was trying to do too much, and so it focused on nothing.
It focused on a lot that didn't amount to much, in my opinion, or it amounted to nothing that I really like stuck with me in like a really like profound way that I think it was trying to do. Okay, well, we're already getting like in the negatives because like, I don't know, it's like a
Yeah. I mean,
I was very excited about this movie. I think it could have been very, very well, very well
I
done.
love La La Land.
La La Land's great.
And Whiplash is great as well.
Yeah, I think another frustrating thing about it was that there were moments where I thought were genuinely fantastic,
There
and
were
I thought
some high highs.
there were very high highs in this movie. A lot of it's really just a big like 3 hour long like compilation of like set pieces and like really like indulgent sequences of stuff. Orgies, yeah, really.
Like, I've had enough. I've had enough.
The first like
5 seconds in the movie, I've had enough.
Yeah, the film actually like literally opens on like someone getting like
shat on
by an elephant.
Wait, greatest shit gag since Slumdog Millionaire. Greatest vomit gag since Stand By Me. I don't know.
Okay. I don't know.
Someone like, have you seen Slumdog Millionaire?
No.
He like jumps into shit. Okay. He gets like trapped at a porta potty thing, and this like celebrity comes in, and he's like wants to go get like an autograph. He has a picture. He's like gonna go get an autograph, and he has to like jump into the shit to get out.
Ew.
Anyway, and then he like walks over covered in shit and gets his autograph.
Solid shit gag.
Yeah. And then Margot Robbie vomits everywhere, and I was just like, that was fucking gratuitous. Like, yeah, that'll be my inner word. I'm gonna do my inner word now. Gratuitous. That's how I felt about this.
I'll do mine. Indulgent. Maybe not. Maybe I'm not quite as strong as gratuitous, but indulgent for sure. Take that as you will. A lot of people are enjoying this. A lot of people are really enjoying this movie.
And there are things to enjoy
and
about it.
And I see exactly why people enjoy it so much.
The production design, insane.
And
the costumes and hair and makeup, like, I'm loving it. I'm glad that it got nominated for those things.
The score is great too. It's a very like.
I have thoughts about the score. I liked the score.
I like the score. It's a very trademark Justin Hurwitz score.
Yeah, and that's almost what I didn't like about it. Unless they were very clearly trying to draw like lines between it and La La Land, which they could have been.
I think they could have been. I think like in a lot of ways. But I don't know if
I like that. That's a little bit self-important to me.
I think in a lot of ways it kind of were. It's kind of like the antithesis of La La Land in a lot of ways, where La La Land is like a very like idyllic and like starry-eyed look at like, you know, Hollywood and like trying to make it and stuff like that, you know, even though they're like the ending of La La Land like paints a very like sobering picture of like what that does and like how
it's a struggle in that movie. It's a struggle,
yeah,
for sure. This is the much uglier side of it though.
Yeah, it's very much the like the seedy underbelly of everything that led up to like the creation or like where Hollywood is today and where it has been in the past, and the glory that is the movies and show business and stuff like that. But
then like placing itself within that, I don't know. There was just like that's just like, once again, too much that it was trying to do. It was like, so you're depicting, we have A Star Is Born. We have a Singing in the Rain. We have like 7 movies happening at once in this movie, I feel like. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's like its downfall to me. It's just like, I don't know. Wasn't sure how to feel at the end of that.
Yeah, I can see that. And I think that's like, that goes into just like how long and extensive this movie is.
I thought the guy that played Manny was great. I really liked him. I don't know if I've ever seen him before.
I don't know that I've seen him either. I can look it up real quick.
Even though I think that Margot Robbie is a good actress, kind of, I don't know. I almost felt she felt out of place in the time period to me.
I think some of her, I think some of that works to the effect that the movie was trying to accomplish
Yeah,
with her.
she wasn't.
She was an outsider, and there's a whole thing about her trying to the studio that she works with trying to make her a bit more prim and proper because the new Hollywood code that's gets implemented in like the early 30s and stuff like that, as opposed to in the silent film era where she would played a lot more like of a raunchy kind of like wild girl. Like one of her characters is like I'm a wild child. That's like one of like the like
that's kind of her tagline kind of thing.
The dialogue cards or whatever you want to call it. I just looked up Diego Calva and there's not much that I recognize from him. Some Spanish language films.
I thought that here, let me go down my notes.
But
so I wrote everyone's names down because there was so many people that I was like, I need to like. So Sidney Palmer, the jazz musician guy, I really liked him, and I wish there was more of his story. But we have this ensemble cast. We have Manny Torres, right? We have Nellie Leroy. We have Jack Conrad. That's Brad Pitt, and then we have Sidney Palmer. It was too many people, and then you didn't like get any kind of background or like enough about anyone to like really care about them. In
the last like hour, that's when things really start taking a turn for all the characters, and it's a bit like all over the place in that like it's hard to get like or hard to grasp onto the emotional beats that are hard to like I guess feel those big emotional beats the way that the script might have wanted me to get it. The way a lot of the characters like finish off
unsatisfying.
A bit unsatisfying. And I mean like not unsatisfying in the way that's like, oh man, I was rooting for them to do this thing. It was more just like, oh well, I just wish I was able to like understand them a bit more and like why this is like such an important or why this needed to be the way they finished off, you know. I guess I like logically I get that from Jack Conrad's character as like the way that his or what he represents in the movie, but emotionally I didn't quite feel what I think I should have felt. It was more just like okay, well that happened. Yeah,
I said to you, and I really mean it, like I didn't feel like any of the big emotional moments were earned like at all. A certain character's suicide. Yeah.
Which is a huge fucking thing.
Huge thing.
And I kind of just look at the screen like, oh.
Okay. Multiple character deaths actually.
Multiple character deaths. Yeah. I think the most like interesting character for me was Diego Calva's character, Manny. But I don't know.
I wish that it would have focused more on him as a main character, because then it really would have been telling a story that hasn't really been told.
Yeah, you know? And I think that was like the inclusion of like the characters like Manny Torres and Sidney Palmer is kind of like a reaction to maybe the criticism that was that surrounded La La Land.
Yeah, but they should have been front and center. It should have been their movie. We already have, like I said, A Star Is Born, A Singing in the Rain. We already have The Artist. We already have these movies about all these other things with white actors rising and falling. Like, I don't know. Like, we've seen a lot of that.
Those are people, those are people that who like or the people who, like other characters, I guess, like Nellie Leroy and Jack Conrad. They're like your typical like movie stars, like characters that we've seen time and time again. Yeah. Whereas Diego Calva, aka Manny, he is comes to prominence as like a studio executive, which is something that we don't really see a ton of.
He works his way up because he's just like a grunt man.
He's a grunt man, and he's like usually the smartest person on the set.
Yeah, he can just get it done, whatever they need to get done.
He gets it done, yeah.
I mean, he gets that elephant to the party in the first scene.
Yeah, in the first scene, he's so quick on his feet. You know, he like gets the elephant to the party, even though like the truck that like was delivered is not it was a horse, like it was a horse, like not carriage, but it was like a horse, like a trailer, I guess. Yeah, for horses, not for like a 15-ton elephant. Yeah, gets it to the party. A woman like overdoses at the party, and they can't like have her seen in the middle of the party, otherwise it's going to ruin the whole thing. So they have to like come up with a way to do it. The elephant comes into play with that. Elephant Distraction. In the room. Right? I don't know. I don't know.
True.
But, you know, and it's like, okay, so this is like a really interesting character with like pretty interesting, or it could be pretty interesting like motivations and stuff like that. And there's also like a loose like love story between him and
Nellie and Manny. And Nellie and Manny have this conversation where they're like, they both want to be in the movies and they just want to be a part of something that's bigger than themselves and that old bag, you know.
Yeah. And that's like the like first or like one of the first like
but I can root for that. Like I can get behind it.
Yeah, I think so. And like, and that's the thing is like just so like frustrating about this movie for me is that there was so much about it that could have been really great, and there is a lot about it that really is great. And it
truly like descends into madness. It comes to a breaking point when you get to the Tobey Maguire part, which I, by the way, totally forgot that he was in that fucking movie until he showed up, and
because he showed up like 2 hours and 10 minutes in or something like that.
Yeah.
And it's like that part. I think Parker, you kind of likened that to kind of like the last half of Boogie Nights, where things turn really dark and things like start going like really crazy and stuff like that. You know,
everything's falling apart.
Everything's like falling apart, and I definitely see that a lot.
That's what he was trying. I thought that's what he was trying to do. I feel like.
I need to see somebody else make this comparison or something, because I just said the Tower of Babel thing like out of my ass, but I felt like they were going through all these levels at this party, and I was like, I mean, if we're calling this Babylon, why are we calling it Babylon? And like, he's going to be like drawing connections like that, I would think.
Yeah, I mean,
and I don't really know this story that well, to be honest. Like the Tower of Babel,
I know like I know like the you know the basic stuff, like, you know, people are trying to build a tower, like this is get out of the realm of like humanity or something like that, and then God like kind of like strikes them down and then forces them to not be able to talk as a result, because they were like getting too like powerful as humans or something like that. And I guess that kind of makes sense, where it's like people trying to like ascend to the top, but some larger force, i.e. like the whole like industrial structure of Hollywood, the like capitalist forces coming into play, like keeping them down and like smiting them, I guess,
restricts
them, restricting them in some way,
and like you see all these people falling, the people who really built the city and the industry for what it was, getting cast away at the end of the movie, kind of.
It really just exposing how like disposable everyone is, even the people that built it, by like the larger forces at play, which is all again like sounds super interesting, but like just lost so much focus in the execution of it.
Okay, in the Bible's book of Genesis, the famous Tower of Babel is constructed in Babylon, and it's from this tower that God separates people across the earth and confuses their language. Because of this story, Babylon has come to be a symbol of a wicked city. I mean, that makes sense to me why he's calling LA and Hollywood this wicked city. Like, makes sense. The hedonism, the debauchery.
Yeah. Debauchery indeed.
I don't know, there's that whole party scene where you're descending through all these levels of like just crazy shit happening at this party. With Tobey Maguire.
Okay.
And you get all the way to the bottom, and all you have is fake money. It's like it's nothing. Yeah. It's not real. You know, it's all an illusion.
Yeah, I mean, and like a lot of this stuff, like it could, and I keep saying it, it could be really interesting and really fucking great.
It could have been really great. But that's what I'm saying. It's just like okay. He's falling into this trap that a lot of directors are like falling into right now. It happened with Knives Out too. Glass Onion. You're getting too much of a reputation and a name. They give you this giant budget. What was it, like $70 million for this or something?
It was like 100.
It was more. It was like 150 million or something like that, I think.
Oh.
Let me double check.
That's his biggest budget he's ever got.
Yeah.
Fucking insane.
Babylon budget. Go on.
And nobody's telling you no. Everyone's just a yes man. And like, it's insane. Like it could have been so much more refined and like just better. Like I'm saying, like they just tried to focus on too many people. The people whose stories have been told time and time again shouldn't have been in the foreground of this movie.
No. On a budget of $160 million, this movie.
Fucking
massive.
Ridiculous.
Massive
and
budget.
unnecessary.
Unnecessary, yeah.
It became... Oh. Okay, bear with us.
Okay, sorry. It might look like shit on the recording or on the YouTube
upload.
So it goes.
So true.
What were we talking about?
Vonnegution. Gersh. Yeah.
Vonnegution?
Yeah.
I don't know. The budget.
The budget.
The budget was $160 million. Didn't make shit, honestly.
What a disappointment. And okay, so we've pretty much only been talking about things we didn't like about this, actually. We said that there were the highs,
I feel
performances that we enjoyed. Oh, the anime Wong character.
Yeah.
She was great. And once again, it's like, I wish she would have been like, what if this was about her? Mm-hmm. That'd be much more interesting.
Yeah, there's a lot that like could have been like covered in the 3 hours.
And they're just like
that
loved
they did.
throwing in like having Margot Robbie like make out with her just to like get her, and then, you know, along with all the tits and penises and vaginas that we saw in that movie.
Oh yeah, there was a lot of
Thank you for that.
A lot of TNP, tits and penis. Gosh, this poor movie hasn't made shit.
So it made some very obvious allusions to Singing in the Rain like throughout the movie.
Oh yeah.
With the obviously like sound coming in, and then they did the like re-recording scenes because you have to get the placement with the microphone right. Mm-hmm. Something like some of the lines were literally like the I love you, I love you, I love you thing. It was just fucking unoriginal. Like,
there's a so at the end of the movie is like the probably like the biggest like or like maybe like one of the most like controversial like
and I don't want to go into too much detail on it. I suppose
I don't either. There's a montage sequence in the movie.
Someone thinks
and I guess it happens when one of the characters returns to LA after like 15 years or something like that.
Having left the film industry after everything kind of blew up in their faces. And this character sits down in a theater where Singing in the Rain is playing, and he has a big like epiphany or something like that. Yeah. Realizes the significance of his contributions.
Yeah.
And like that I feel like they're coming to the conclusion that it was all worth it, all of the pain and the strife and whatever. Go with
that. There's a quote that I found, or that I like from the Roger Ebert review by Brian Tellerico, if I'm pronouncing that right. And it says, there's a sense that Chazelle suggests that we don't get Singing in the Rain if lives aren't destroyed during the transition from silent to talkies. And isn't it great that we got that movie? That's a deeply cynical and superficial way to look at filmmaking. If he thinks he's pulling back the curtain on a broken industry, he reveals himself to be part of that warped system in the end. It's like he doesn't want to seriously consider how his beloved art will destroy its dreamers as long as his raging party keeps going. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, that's a pretty scathing,
and I have to agree wholeheartedly. Actually,
I do. It felt like, on one hand,
it's like what if he went to the theater and was watching Babylon? That's what this movie like was.
Yeah, it was on one hand, it was very on the nose about like, oh man, like film and like crazy. Isn't this all like great? And on the other hand, you think about it a little bit more, and it's like, why is that great?
We just had fun like recreating scenes from fucking Singing in the Rain, and then like throwing some orgies and like jazz on top of it.
And it's like if La La Land itself was like could already be described as like a bit derivative, this is like, I guess like in the same sense it is, but also it's like it takes that like derivation to the extreme, and like it's like a perverse like derivation, I guess, if that's the right use of that word. I don't know.
That's right. I actually realized that I wrote that down in a word, derivative. What did I say earlier? Gratuitous. I feel strongly about both of those, actually. They're kind of a tie for me.
Cheater. My camera's off.
So closing thoughts.
Many people will really like this movie. Many people have really liked this movie.
And there's much to enjoy.
There's much to enjoy about it. And that's like I think like I recognize that how much there is to enjoy from this movie. I just don't think it was like really like for me. I think I did enjoy it a little bit more than you did.
Yes, I agree.
But
I was halfway through. I like kept turning to you and just like in the theater and just being like.
And I was like, dude, I'm trying to watch.
I was livid. Like I was like already like I walked out fuming.
You did. Ratings.
I did give it 2.5 stars on Letterboxd. Listen, it was very cool, very fun, lots of cool stuff to see.
Yeah.
I think that Margot and Robbie keeps getting herself cast in these like weird manic pixie dream girl character roles that I'm like not enjoying for her. I think she can do better. Derivative.
Bullshit.
The montage at the end was trash.
Bullshit.
It was trash. It was the worst part of the whole fucking movie.
Derivative, I agree. Yeah. It was definitely like the only time in the movie where I went like I actually like
Fully
felt
was
like
just like because it's like having a montage at all. Okay, whatever.
Yeah.
Because I don't feel like I need things explained to me like that. I don't.
Yeah.
But the amount that went on for, like, it just kept going, and I was like, make it end.
8-9 minute thing or something like that.
It was something crazy.
It was very long. I gave it 3 stars. Which I'm thinking honestly might be a little bit too high. I might bump it down to 2.5 as well because I don't think the movie. Okay, I don't think any part of the movie was like, and I'm blown out again. Oh well. I don't think it's going away. Maybe. Okay. I don't think any part of the movie was really middle of the road. I think parts of it were really spectacular and really awesome, and parts of it were just really fucking awful. Yeah, it's terrible. There was the highest highs and the lowest lows possible in this film.
Agreed.
And it came down to like a net like neutral like for me. If like maybe a little bit net positive just because I wanted to give it the benefit of the doubt coming out of the theater, but now I'm like thinking about it more. I'm like I don't think there's like.
I'm gonna go look on Letterboxd, but hot take because we had this discussion about the high highs and the low lows. Last Night in Soho was a better movie than this.
I think I gave Last Night in Soho probably like 2.5 stars maybe.
I feel like I might have as well, honestly, which is why I'm gonna go look. But I actually genuinely feel that Last Night in Soho maybe deserves. I gave it 2. I'm low-key like. I think it deserves 3 compared to Babylon.
A lot. I might have given it 3 actually as well. Let me double check.
I gave it 2, and I'm like, if I give Babylon 2.5,
just knowing my rating system versus yours, I probably gave it like a 3.
I think that I'm bumping Last Night in Soho up, and I did not like that movie. But
you're in, kid. Last Night in Soho.
We talked about the highs weren't as high as this movie, but the lows also weren't as low. It was much more of a middle of the road kind of movie. Yeah. Actually, if anything, Last Night in Soho 2.5, Babylon 2.
I was gonna say I think
I might even adjust my rating again. Watch the fuck out, Damien Chazelle.
No one's safe.
No one's and Edgar Wright. No one's safe.
Yeah, I guess we were talking about Last Night in Soho with this because it's another one of those movies that we saw by a director that we really enjoy that just didn't meet our expectations.
It just flopped. Wow, wow.
But yeah, I mean, I think whereas like. There was nothing about Babylon that was like middle of the road. I think a lot of Last Night in Soho was middle of the road.
I don't think
there was anything spectacularly good or bad about Last Night in Soho.
No.
But yeah, okay. Final thoughts.
Yeah, final thoughts. That's about it. We've already done our words. There's many words I feel like you could say about this one. Shit. Sorry. Okay, so yeah, let's wrap it up. You can catch this episode on YouTube as always on the Mankheads channel. Catch us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, probably some other places. Follow us on Instagram at Mankheads Podcast and at Mankheads. At Mankheads. If you feel. Got some exciting stuff in the works over on at Mankheads. Yes, we are going to have a house show coming up very soon. More info forthcoming. Yeah. So for our friends in Austin that would be interested in that. January 4th. February 4th. February 4th. I know what I'm talking about. More info to come. Should be a fun time. And yeah, that'll do it for us today. Yeah. Signing off. Mankheads Podcast. Forever.